What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 92 of Collecting Profit. We have a special guest tonight.
How
Here
are
he
you?
is.
Do you hear me well with the mic or no?
I do hear you well. We have, ladies and gentlemen, we have
Perfect.
RC Sports Talk. How are
Oh,
you, sir?
I'm not too bad, not too bad. Do you hear me well with the mic or is it on my iPhone? I don't know. I'm trying my best here to configure it, but I was kind of like time restrained.
I hear you okay.
You hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect.
Yep. Maddie, how's it going, buddy? How are you? Big John, how you doing? So, yeah, nice to meet you, RC.
Nice to meet you guys. Nice to meet you. Happy to be on here.
Yeah, hey, thank you so much for coming on and everything. Definitely appreciate it.
I appreciate the invite more than
Yeah,
anything, to be
I was
honest.
checking your stuff out and everything. And you're when you cover all sports. You're not just dedicated to
Yeah,
to
yeah, we go all
one.
the way to curling almost. Yeah,
Yeah.
cover all ends. Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So before we go ahead and get started, I know you want to introduce yourself and then we'll just, jump into all the stuff.
Yeah, so my like obviously as you see my my Instagram is RC Sports Talk, so I post a lot of like you say a lot of sports content. Basically covers all sports.
I
I
like
try
them.
to make it more like like let's say if you look at the score, or if you look at all these big sports outlets, they'll post, let's say, like very much like the injury, all that stuff. Like they'll give you like minute to minute, but I try to make it more like familiar content and more like social media content, things that people can attach themselves a bit more to. So
Yep.
like certain things, let's say like when it connects really well to social media within the lives of like let's say the athletes. So we try to get that content most, but we do cover every let's say like big update within sports. Like right now, there's the Devontae Adams. Is he going to get traded? Is he going to be kept? They don't know. So that we're covering that right now. And the NHL is right around the corner. That's my favorite sport. So obviously, sometimes when the NHL season starts, I have a little bit of a bias towards that. But other than that, yeah, we cover all sports, and we're mainly on Instagram for now. You can check us out on Facebook as well, TikTok, and hopefully YouTube at some point.
Yeah, so just so everybody knows, all of the links and everything are in the description of this. So you could hit Facebook, TikTok, IG, the website, everything is below. So want to talk about a bunch of different things. But I don't know if you saw the news. You said hockey is your thing.
Yeah. Well, all sports, but hockey mainly. We always get
Yeah.
that fun sport.
So what do you think of a lot of the audience, when we talk sports and everything, we also kind of talk how it relates to card collecting,
Right.
Also and everything. So, like one of the things that happened today, which is a huge deal, Connor Bedard signed an exclusive with Fanatics for autographs.
So that I guess that hurts in some in some way upper deck.
It's gotta really hurt Upper Deck because now you think about it from a standpoint of any products that they're going to come out with, right? To get autographs.
They're gonna go through a thick and thin to try and get an autograph, and you can't now at that
You
point, right?
can't.
Sign
You
since you
you,
signed an
you know,
exclusive.
yeah, you can't get an autograph, so that is definitely going to cause a problem. Hey, Dami, how you doing? Uh, so I mean, obviously that doesn't really do anything for hockey per se, but
No.
but for those of us in the sports card collecting, now that changes a lot because what could possibly Fanatics put his autograph on?
I mean, probably they're gonna try to like Fanatics has a lot of like if you look at their stuff, it's jerseys, right? It's like what the consumer buys to wear in a sense, right? So maybe memorabilia, game worn stuff. And I've seen, I have friends here that are lawyers, and one of my friends, she was showing me a case in which Upper Deck, I think even Tops and another company, not no, yeah. Anyway, the other company I'd have to fact check just to be sure are in a big crisis, like sort of where they've been selling cards or memorabilia that hasn't been game worn or has been like let's say deferred to as game worn but isn't game worn, so they're sort of in that like predicament in a court case. I don't know where they're at per se right now, but I think that for, let's say, memorabilia, if you look at it in a memorabilia standpoint, Fanatics made a smart move, but obviously it hurts the consumer that wants to collect, let's say, rookie card, a second season card of Connor Bedard signed. Like that sucks for the consumer itself, right? But in terms of memorabilia, if you look at it from Fanatics standpoint, I think they made a smart move. Like if they want to invest like that, for them it's a smart move. For us, it sucks as a
Right.
consumer, but for them, I mean, like money's money, right? So
I mean, you get someone who everybody believes, is in that Gretzky, McDavid,
yeah.
realm potential. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's just, I don't know, for to your point with the thing, that was one of the things that we in the sports card world have seen, that whole piece about the memorabilia stuff. At one time it was, and they would get around. So at one time it was game used. Then they changed that to player worn. But the funny thing is it didn't have to be worn by the player who's on the card.
So what they make? How would they pass that in a sense? Because
So
I
so
love
th-
I love collecting cards, but obviously I'm not at your level of connaissance, in a sense of
yeah.
connoisseur level. So, but like when you say player worn, right? Like if it's not worn by that player, who would it be worn by?
So they showed um New Orleans Saints. And so what they had was they had a guy who used to play on that team, Mark Ingram.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and he went. He was at an event with it could have been Tops, could have been Panini, Fanatics, whoever it was, and he basically was throwing on football jerseys.
One after
He may have
another.
he may have number 88, then
That's
number 80,
wild.
then number 32, then number 7, whatever it might be.
And that
They
passes in the loopholes of a player
of
worn
it is
jersey.
player worn.
That's
Because they
wild.
didn't
Yeah, I
say it
didn't know that.
was.
That's wild.
Yeah, so that and they showed a picture of him, and I think at one point he had maybe like a dozen jerseys on all at the same time. He
You're
was
gonna
just
have to
putting
send me that picture, that video.
yeah, I gotta try and find it when they
That's
show
funny.
yeah. So, they got along those lines. And
Right.
then recently what we've seen is when you look at the fine print on the back, now it's like this patch does not come from any specific game, event, or player. So now it's like, oh, so what'd you do? Go to Walmart and buy, a jersey and just cut ahead and cut it up and do that, onto the thing. So they've gone ahead and they've hurt the value because
Of cards,
for
of course, because nobody knows now which card. Like, you can't. Obviously, it could have been like right. Like at some point, like if you say, let's say, I don't know, man, Buffalo Bills, right? You're collecting a Josh Allen card, right? And it says
yeah,
player worn. It might be that Josh Allen actually wore the jersey,
right.
but it hurts it because it's like, well, it could have potentially not been worn by him, right?
It could
So
have been the offensive lineman that nobody
yeah,
knows
well,
about.
a bit tougher fit, but yeah.
Yeah. But but that's so and then from a value perspective, it kills the value because now player worn very different than game used. Because if it's game used, it typically was for that player,
Right.
right? But game worn, player worn means anybody and everybody. So
Right.
they go ahead and they take the kicker who's the smallest guy and they can throw 20 jerseys on him.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. It's player worn, man.
Yeah.
Evan McPherson wore every jersey. Patrick Mahomes gained one jersey. So yeah, well, player worn jersey, let's say.
Hey, Kenneth. So, it's interesting. It's interesting what has happened with the sports card market and everything, and how Fanatics has really changed the game for those of us who really, collect, heavily because, the other thing that is happening, the other big piece is, you're saying like as the players get traded and all this other kind of stuff, right? You have that stuff. Uh-oh. We may have lost them, folks. Oh, all right, we have to wait for them to come back. Yeah, there it is. Oh, wait for them to come back. So while I was waiting for them to come back, hey, how's everybody doing? Hope all is well. Can't believe that the damn, I mean, would have been nice if the Mets would have been able to keep that going. But it is good. I mean, Larkin, congratulations on your Royals. Holy cow. What a crazy series that was. Man, oh man, oh man. I mean, 1-0, 2-1, 4 runs in 2 games. I mean, 10 hits in one game, 15 in another. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But them and I mean the Tigers. He's
I'm so
back.
sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh my
Yep.
god. Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm so sorry, guys.
No worries. No
Sorry.
worries. Um,
But
no,
yeah,
but
we were on the Fanatics topic. Yeah.
yeah, so it's interesting what they are doing and stuff, and from a sports, just overall, the licensing and all the other kind of stuff, and it makes it interesting from that standpoint. But so you in covering sports and stuff like that, what you know we had a couple of passing of some people over this last, couple of days and everything, your thoughts on, the Matumbo stuff, of him passing.
Well, it's big. It's big news, right? Like, I mean, that affects like basically like all of an NBA world, and even like Matumbo was iconic. Like he'd be mentioned in, let's say, rap songs, so people of pop culture even know who Matumbo is in a sense, like sort of like a Mo Bamba, right? But like not in the same, not in the same sort of
Yeah.
talent range.
Uh-huh.
But it affects all sort of people, and it touches all the sports. Like even like you look at Johnny Goudreau that passed away, right? That was brutal, and like all
Yep.
sports, all it affected everybody else in every other sport, right? Like you saw like teams in the NFL, their first week doing memorials for him, you know? So I feel like when someone, especially like obviously any person that passes away within sports that was known, or even just a player like that, usually it's nice to see and it's sad to see, because like it's sad in the sense that like you see somebody like him, he was 58 years old, right? If I'm not mistaken,
Yep.
58, right? 58 years old, right? So he's young, he has a family. So it sucks in that sense, but it's nice to see that it's the only time where there's no negativity surrounding a subject, right? And like I feel like all the social media all the time, no matter what you could post a picture of Devontae Adams, you can post a picture of Aaron Rodgers, you can post a picture of Ovechkin, just like that, and there'll be negativity, right? So it's nice to see like the whole sports world come together sometimes, and like sort of wish their goodbyes to that athlete that passed away.
Yeah, and I tell you, he was such a he was definitely, I mean, a way, way, way better human being than he was a basketball player. When you hear
Right.
about the stories and all that kind of stuff and everything, it was sad to see. It's nice to see the tributes and all the other kind of stuff. So I mean that is awesome.
1,000.
He was icon-ish. I don't know if I'd call him an icon, but he was icon-ish. He had
Oh,
that.
just the finger wave, like
Yeah,
yeah.
like that part was iconic and everything. He had that piece to him. So I mean, that was that was that was very sad and everything. What are your thoughts on the Pete Rose?
uh I don't like that was before my era, and like I follow
True.
baseball, but it was before my era, so I don't exactly know much about Pete Rose. Like when you read the tributes, like obviously it was, I think from what I understood and from what I saw, like a very like I think important person, right, in baseball,
Yep.
and so that's what I got from it. I'm not gonna give more opinions on it because I don't know exactly who he was and what how he caught. Well, like I know who he was, but not how he contributed as much to the sport itself, because I wasn't following baseball back then. In a sense, I wasn't even born. So, but yeah, like I said, in when it comes to somebody passing away, obviously it's nice to see everybody come together, and especially like he passed away right before the baseball playoffs started. So, like I mean, it's kind of like it's a timing where kind of the whole baseball world is hyped up to watch the playoffs, and then bang, news like that hits. So.
Yeah, Pete is he's a very polarizing figure. With what he got in trouble for with betting on baseball and stuff, and and there are other things too. There are other things in his personal life, but I'm just talking about the baseball side, of
Yeah.
it. There are a lot of people,
Yeah, I didn't know
who,
that. I hadn't known that.
yeah, so he got banned for life. He got a permanent ban, because when he was the manager of the Cincinnati Reds, he was actually betting on the Cincinnati Reds.
That's all.
And his thing was, but I never bet for them to lose. And it's like, but that doesn't make a difference. You still
Yeah,
bet.
that's like Calvin Ridley. Yeah.
Like, oh, I never bet on them to lose. Doesn't make a difference. That's not the
Yeah.
point. The point was you weren't allowed to bet, and you
Yeah.
did.
Right.
From that standpoint. And there's a lot of Hall of Fame talk with him. I mean, he has the most hits of any player, in baseball. Over 4,200 hits. There's a whole bunch of stuff with him. And there was some discussion online about it, and people were going, well, hey, now go ahead and get him in the hall and get him in the hall. And personally, my opinion is I don't think he should go in the hall now, because to me,
He's not even there to accept the award. And
right, why is he good enough now?
Exactly.
Because he's dead?
Right.
I mean, to me,
That would be sort of like a Barry Bonds, I find. Like something like if Barry Bonds were to pass away, I feel like people would say the same thing. But it's like if the guy's not even there to accept the award and see the relics of his accomplishments, like
right,
why
yeah,
add him, right?
yep, yeah. So it's I don't
Sort
know.
of like yeah, and I
It's an
completely
interesting
understand what
one.
you're saying. I understand because it's not right. All the years where the guy was able to accept the award, give a speech, take it with him sort of to the grave, right? Okay, now he'd be in the Hall of Fame, but he's not there to accept it. It's kind of, I feel it's insulting sometimes because there's some athletes, and I want to get into that a bit. Like, let's say like Barry Bonds. In hockey, there's also, what's his name? Oh my God, the guy that defected from Russia. Anyway, his name is slipping to me, but there's always these guys that the community always seems to say, well, they're a Hall of Famer, but let's say the NHLPA or the MLB doesn't want to put them into the Hall of Fame, and I find that injustice. Let's say like somebody like Barry Bonds. What's your opinion on that? Like, what do you think of that? Should he be in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, I am not. So yes, him, Roger Clemens. If people think Mark McGwire should, yes. If the people think Sammy Sosa, yes. And here's why. If you could tell me that every single baseball player in the Hall of Fame was clean their
Yeah.
whole career, then okay.
Then fine. Don't put him
then,
in. I'll
then
accept.
don't
Yeah,
put him in.
I get you.
But
Yeah.
but you can't.
No.
And
No, everybody was
especially,
juicing in that era. I mean, almost
right,
everybody was juicing, right?
yeah,
So
you
it's
could
like,
say whatever you want to say, but that's just,
I mean,
that's just my opinion of it.
and you could even say like this, like, look, it was an era where it was less checked, right? A lot less checked, right? And he was like, basically everybody else had the same playing field as him, and he was putting up those numbers. You know what I mean? Like, okay, at some point you gotta like put away the steroid argument and just look at, this was a phenomenal athlete. This guy
Yeah.
was able to play baseball. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I said, I mean, when you think about some of the things, I mean, to me, from what I saw with my eyes, and Shohei needs to do it a little bit more. But to me, as of right now, I just think he was, to me, he's the greatest baseball player to play. And, his godfather, Willie Mays, who, just passed away,
Yeah.
he was right there also. Mays was really like the first guy who was the power and speed, and stuff like that. So, but I mean,
When you say
one
Shohei
of those
needs to do
things.
it a little more, what do you mean by that?
I mean, I think he just has to have a little longer career.
Oh yeah,
A lot,
Okay, no,
a
no,
lot
I
of people are
understand.
like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, he's the greatest baseball player ever" and stuff. I mean,
Yeah. He could. He will.
okay,
I think he'll go down as the best player like to ever play baseball.
yeah,
I
I
think he
mean,
will, but like you say, he has to do it a little longer. Like if he retires next year, like I won't say I'm not ready to say the best player to ever play
yeah,
baseball.
I
The
mean, I
most
just,
talented, but not the best. Like he's not the
yeah,
most accomplished player. You know what I mean?
yep. So
Yeah.
from that standpoint, but again, the whole Hall of Fame thing, again, to me, like I said, it's one of those things. If you could tell me that everybody was clean, then then I'd say, okay, keep those guys out. But I know you can't. I know for a fact you can't because there's a player called Gaylord Perry who was a pitcher who has admitted to cheating. That he used to go ahead and he used to throw a spitball. He used to put grease or he used to, he used to
Time card
doctor
or
the
whatever.
baseball when he pitched. And he's in the Hall of Fame. So I know you can't tell me that everybody in the Hall of Fame is clean.
Yeah, and if you put yourself even in his position, Miz was a better than Barry bulking up bonds.
Yeah.
But like even if like, and that's insulting, especially for I think like Barry probably knows himself that he deserves to be there, but it's insulting to see, let's say, like peers that were juicing and that he's not there. You know what I mean?
I think
And like
that's the
that,
big I think that's the big
like
part of it.
for athletes, having been an athlete, not the highest level, obviously, but having been an athlete, and obviously at some point, a lot of people like now, a lot of players like you see it, it's done for the money, and it's sad to see because it kind of takes the passion away from the sport. But I know that prior to when big amount of money was being paid, like now, a lot of athletes and still a lot of athletes play to have a reputation, to finish with milestones, to like to try and be the best within their sport. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
sure.
Not everybody gets to that point. But like for him, it must suck. Like that's the only thing he's missing. You know what I mean? Like for him in his heart, like he's gonna hold that grudge in a sense.
Yeah, for
Right.
personal accomplishments, that's the last thing for him. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I said, to me, I don't. I don't know. To me, the Hall of Fame. I mean, I've been there. I've been there twice. It's a great museum. From that standpoint. AJ, how you doing, buddy? It's a great museum. Like I said, and it is, it is what it is. I mean, like I said, it's weird when you think about it that, as of right now, the guy with the most career hits is not in. The guy with the most career home runs is not in. The guy with the most career Cy Young awards is not in.
Yeah, it gets to a point. It's like, okay,
you
so what
know,
are we doing? Like, what are we trying to make a humanitarian award out of people that
eh,
get into the Hall of Fame?
Bonds might have been a jerk, but
But
I
he's a
mean,
baseball player, man. He's a
but
good
he,
baseball
but
player.
but he was friggin' really good as a baseball player. So I
Yeah,
mean, there are a lot of players who have been, jerks throughout the years that people, had issues with, so, but it is what it is. I mean, I mean, like I said, I'm a little different when it comes to that. I'm a big baseball fan. I love the game and everything, and so to me, like I said, I just look at it different. And like I tell people is that, you know, from when I first put on a baseball glove when I was 6, I mean, honest to goodness, until I was about 19 years old, the only thing I ever wanted to be was a second baseman for the New York Mets.
I was about to
Nothing
say you're a
else.
New York guy. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know if it's a Bronx Bomber type guy, or
No,
if you're a
that's
Mets guy, but you look like a New York guy.
yeah, but that's all I ever wanted. And the reason why I honestly and I'm completely transparent, honest with it. If someone would have come to the 17-year-old me and said, "Hey, man, if you could, rub this cream or take this pill, and stuff like that, um, you have a great shot of making it to the major leagues." I can't say that I would say no.
Why would you? I think I'm on the same. I'm on the same opinion
You
as
know what I'm saying? Like
but
I don't think I could. I don't think I would have been able to say no to it. So for
not many
me,
people though. Like I think if everybody's pretty much honest with themselves, I think over 80 to 85% of people would say that they would take a pill or like a rubbing cream or whatever the hell
yeah,
they want and
yeah.
end up playing the professional sport of their choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, so from that standpoint, like I said, I mean, I don't place any blame on these guys. I don't,
No.
like I
And
said, I just say, look, that was the era. It was what it was,
yeah.
and I think, to me, the weird way the games have changed, whether it be football and baseball and basketball and I think hockey's getting there. Maybe not yet, but I think hockey is getting there, and I'm not sure if they will get there, but I think they're moving towards it. I think when you look at the other 3 sports, I don't think you're gonna have a lot of people playing and putting themselves through what some of the older guys did because of the money is so
Oh
crazy.
no, like you look just at like now at least they cut down on it, but like if you look at just the NBA, right? And these guys are on like I think you're talking about like putting themselves through like work and all that stuff. That's what you're talking about, right?
Well, yeah, well, not I mean, I think they'll work out hard, but to
Yeah.
push themselves to come back from an injury
Oh no, that's why.
sooner,
Yeah,
right?
no,
You know
no,
what I'm
that's it.
saying?
Okay,
Like,
so
like,
that's what I
"Hey,
was getting
I
to.
I don't
Yeah.
do anything until I'm 100%,"
No, that's it.
you
No,
know?
and even guys that are at 100%, like they had to do something about load management because it was coming to the point where fans were complaining because they're like,
Yeah,
like now ticket prices, and I don't blame them for the prices. Everything's gone up in prices, and obviously some people, some stadiums really abuse their prices. I live in Montreal, and like Montreal, Toronto are the two cities. Montreal, Toronto, and New York are the three cities where they charge the most for NHL tickets. You're almost at 500 bucks Canadian for a pair of two seats in the Reds, which would be in the lower bowl of the arena. And like,
holy smokes.
yeah, it's expensive, man. And this $500, mind you, the team hasn't been good for the
I was
last
gonna
2 years.
I was gonna say,
Right, you're an original 16. It's basically like paying for like okay, the Yankees will never be bad, right? Because they always have money, right? But if the Yankees were bad, the Yankees would still charge pretty expensive, right? To go watch a game compared to, let's say, like even if the Cleveland Guardians were good, right? Let's say like if you
yeah,
compare the Cleveland Guardians being good and the Yankees not being good, the Yankees probably would still have higher ticket prices than the Cleveland Guardians, right?
I agree.
Exactly. So, they're at that point where they're charging these prices, and you have fans going to watch the Lakers, and you have, or the Clippers, especially the Clippers, like in the recent years, and you have Kawhi Leonard, people that are paying big money, or even in the higher bowls, right? Like some families can't afford all that. A lot of families, right?
Oh, yeah.
Middle class can't afford going to watch these games in the lower bowls. They pay the higher price, the lower prices for the higher seats. But you're still going there, and you want to watch your favorite player, the guy sitting on the bench because he doesn't feel like playing. Like it's
Right.
insulting. It's insulting.
Yep.
You know. In reality, I understand they have a talent. They made it there themselves, but at the end of the day, it's the fans paying their salary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you don't see that happening in hockey.
No, 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 no. I think that's the only. I think hockey and pretty much. I don't know if baseball, like that's the thing. I don't know if baseball guys are more rushed to come back compared to the NFL, since the NFL's a shortened season,
Yeah.
right? Let's say like the MLB, you're at what 162, 152 games, right?
Yep.
152 game season,
62,
right?
yes.
So guys, like if you sit 4 games, like okay, it hurts a bit if you guys end up losing them, right? If Soto decides to sit 4 games, well, it'll hurt, but whatever. If let's say Derrick Henry decides to sit 2 3 games, well, since it's a shortened season, well, it hurts a lot more, right? So those guys rush to come back a bit more, but like hockey, the guys like that's what I respect about hockey. I feel like there's still like that traditional view on sports through the athletes
Yep.
where the guys will rush to come back, right? So, and it's
Well,
nice
hell,
because
how many guys will get their teeth knocked out and
come
go on
back,
the
yeah.
back and come back the same
But
damn
that's the
game?
stigma too. The stigma causes completely other problems. But at least in the fact of where the athletes do come back, that's not an issue. You'll see them back on the ice, but there'll be problems within the locker room that we don't
Yeah.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting, like I said, and and it's funny again, it goes back to like, the sports cards market and how that affects everything else. And
Right.
players, their memorabilia doesn't get the same respect or the respect it should because, well, you know what? That guy really doesn't like, that guy's really just there, you know, for himself. He's not there for the team because, hey, oh, I can't play, back to back games or, we had to fly cross country. Man, you're not flying
Yeah.
freaking like, you're not
You're
flying
not you're not
Frontier
working, you're not on a
Airlines,
bike, like
right?
biking your way through the country. You know what I mean?
You're not on Southwest. You know what I'm saying? I
You're
mean,
not like on Ryanair standing up, you know what I mean?
yeah.
You're flying
You know,
first class, you have your seats, you're getting your feet rubbed if you need to. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like these guys are good. Like they're fine, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when it's insulting for a fan, because as a fan, you're supporting your team, and even if you're not there to buy the tickets, like let's say not having Kawhi Leonard on the floor, not having Steph Curry and LeBron James have always been guys that have played many games,
Yes.
but and you still see it, like LeBron does not need to play right now. Okay, now probably the argument is his son's there and whatever, but like the guy didn't need to play until this age. Like he has way like enough money to get through his life for the rest of
Yep.
his life. He has all the accomplishments he needs, and he said it today. He's like, "Well, no, I'm not playing for he's there. I'm not playing for extracurriculars." He's like, I'm playing to have fun. I'm playing with my son, and any other accomplishment that comes my way, well, I'll take it. I'm proud of it. I'm happy to get it, and I want them. But he's like, I've pretty much achieved everything I wanted to achieve in the sport. But as a fan, and you see your guys sitting and you're losing games, and you're like, well, I just want to watch playoff baseball. I want to watch playoff hockey, playoff football, playoff basketball. And the guy that's able to bring you there is sitting them out because he's not 100%, and you think that he can play. It's insulting. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I could never, I could never understand it. I, I guess I can never understand it because, especially basketball,
Yeah. It's
for
basketball.
what
I
for what
think that's
those
the sport
for
where
what those guys do, like you don't see very many fat basketball players.
no,
Yeah,
no,
you don't see a lot of out of shape guys like you used to, right? I mean, everybody's pretty much,
yeah,
built well. Now, do
right.
they all have six packs and they all ripped and everything? No, but it's not like they're sitting there, and they're 400 pounds, playing the game.
No,
So it's
exactly.
it's puzzling when you figure that they now again, I understand the whole argument of, yeah, but you don't understand, what they go through in that 48-minute game and so on and so forth. I mean, but it's still like, but it's still look, it's like, but still, you're a professional athlete. You
Yeah,
know, you have certain things that are done for you to help you, whether it's this personal chef making sure that you're eating right, a dietitian
these
or
guys
whatever
are
it
like
may be.
well-oiled machines. These are
Yeah,
well-oiled machines. You know what I mean?
yeah. So it's like, why do you need like? I mean, like, I can't believe you need rest. Like it's going to be
Right.
funny. The NBA is going to start, in a little while,
Yeah.
and you know, and there's going to be a team who's going to have back-to-back games, and it's going to be like their ninth game and their 10th game. And there's going to be somebody who's going to sit the 10th game of the season already because it
Yeah.
was a back-to-back.
You
And it's
know,
like,
I
what
think
what are you doing?
on average, let's say like the best players in the NBA, how many like minutes they play? Like in the 30s, right? I'd say.
Yeah.
Right,
Yep.
30s. It gets physical, but it's not that physical. You look at, let's say, like, and you were talking about hockey, and hockey's my sport, right? So, like, I
Right.
always related back to hockey. But you look at hockey, or even baseball. There's guys that most guys will play most guys will play over 130 games, right? In the season, 140 games in a season,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, and you don't think they get strained running bases, training, flying across the country, like you look at hockey players, they'll log in like the best players. McDavid will log in almost 28 to like sometimes 29 to 30 minutes a night. Sometimes 30
Yep.
minutes where you're on the ice going 100 miles an hour, like we're going like let's say like
Yeah.
20
Nonstop.
kilometers to 20 kilometers, 25 kilometers an hour, skating back and forth, getting hit, center ice hits, getting body checked, going like really putting your body through it, and playing 82 games at that, right? A lot of players play 82 games. Like you look at Crosby. Crosby went out with a concussion and came back within the season, maybe 10 games later, and was logging in 28 minutes. And then I compared, let's say, to the NBA. Obviously, okay, I have my biases, but a lot of people are able to play. If you put yourself in a logical standpoint, like you say, right? You're eating well, you're running up and down a court, and that's your job. Like you have a whole summer off to recoup whatever bad injuries you had. And like you say, there's gonna be guys that are gonna be sitting the 10th game of the season. How does that happen? You had a whole summer to reevaluate everything. You got a whole summer to train, eat right, get the spas installed that you wanted in your house, the saunas, everything you wanted, the whole kit. And you come back and you're sitting like the 10th game of the season because oh, I have a strained shoulder, I have a hung nail, my wife's ex-boyfriend's dog died. Like, you know what I mean? It's like there's just some exaggeration at some point,
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, you know? But anyway.
No, I agree. I agree completely and everything. Um I guess it's and again, it's going to be interesting to see what these athletes do, how their careers go. Um, it's there are still some of the crazy things, when you think of, like Connor Bedard, that he had that Young Guns card in Upper Deck that people are offering like $1 million for it.
That 1 of 1 you're talking about?
Yeah.
That 1 of 1 was actually pulled in Montreal.
No way.
Yeah, that's Card Chasers Montreal. I'm gonna give them a little shout out. But yeah, it was pulled in Montreal, and those guys, I saw them when I went to the. Well, I didn't see it happen there, but I like you could see it on their store. I'll send you the. The video after they posted it
Oh
on
yeah.
their Instagram. But yeah, it's guys from Montreal, and the guy was jumping on his desk, and they were all happy. But yeah, like it shows you how much. Well, obviously the guy is thinking of his pockets as well, but it shows you how much it means for the consumer, right?
Right.
So, and once again, to relate it back before we jumped into the talking about like the deceased athletes, we're talking about Fanatics. Fanatics really ruined the game. If you look at it in the last couple of years, like the last 2 years, Fanatics has completely ruined consumer consumption in sports. If you look at the jerseys, you look at everything's horrible quality. Players are complaining about see those see-through pants on baseball players at the beginning of the season. Like, what is that? Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean?
Right.
And like they've really ruined everything. Like it's come like they want to save money. And I went to an MLS game actually this weekend, and it's Fanatics, right? And you're looking at like the MLS jersey, right? It's a normal T-shirt, normal spandex T-shirt, right? The official shirt, whatever it is.
Right.
For a T-shirt, you're paying $260.
Yeah.
Like a soccer shirt, like whatever, fine. I get it. You have to make money somewhere, but like the quality isn't the greatest, Like
Yeah.
how much could you be paying for that shirt that you have to charge the consumer $260 for?
Yeah, and when Fanatics got into the sports card, arena, they said their goal is they wanted to 10x the hobby, and a lot of people started wondering, okay, 10x in what way? 10x in the amount of people that you're bringing in, 10x in the amount of product that you're producing, 10x now because if you think about it,
Yeah, you have to be clear about it. Yeah,
once you say 10x and you're bringing more product, well, that means you're 10xing
the
your
price.
sales and all the other kind of stuff. And what it does is it makes it to a point to where you have so much of it that a
Oh,
lot of it
yeah, you're talking
becomes
about an abundance on the
worthless.
market. Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
becomes worthless,
Yeah, for the people that
and
are just doing it, like look, I collect sports cards, and I collect mostly hockey cards, right?
Mhm.
But I do it for the hobby, and I have some valuable cards. Like I brought the 3 cards that I brought them here because I know that you're a cards guy. I brought them with me
Yeah.
downstairs. 3 cards that mean a lot to me, sentimentally, and well, there's one that has a lot of value in a sense, and we'll get to it after. But yeah, like I mean, for me, if I can get my hands on a rookie card, I'll get my hands on a rookie card. I'll be more than happy. But for the guy that's how he's making his living, card stores and stuff like that. You're putting an abundance on the market. You're killing the whole market. You're killing the game for people.
Yeah, I agree, and they are, look again.
And they'll charge the
Hey,
same prices for boxes as well.
well, boxes have gone. I mean, stupid. Like you look at the Connor Bedard stuff right now,
Yeah.
and it's going to change again now that you can't have autographs. But when you look at if you were to look at the market for Upper Deck, right, and you were to see the price of a hobby box, and typically hobby boxes or jumbo boxes are the boxes where you could get the best hits, right?
Yeah.
You look at what Upper Deck was doing pre Connor Bedard. There were companies that were selling hobby boxes for $50, $60,
Yeah.
$70. All of a sudden, he comes out, those boxes now $300-$400 just because of that one person. And it's crazy when you think about it from a standpoint of is when you look at some sports of what prices did. You had Bedard coming,
Yeah.
you had Victor Wembanyama coming,
Yeah, in the same year.
In the same exact year, and you see all of a sudden, like,
everything shoot up. You're like,
crazy
whoa.
stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, look, so check it out right here. And then you have Caitlin Clark for WNBA.
WNBA pre-orders are like $750. Panini missed that.
$150.
Panini missed so many bubbles, though, man.
$750. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Look, just the
and it's going to go though. The problem is it's going to sell because that's the only place, you know, if you want
you can get
Clark,
them.
it's the only place you're going to be able to get them.
Yeah.
But so, for instance, right, you have Matty Ice. Matty Ice lives in Indianapolis, right? His daughter, has become an Indiana Fever fan.
Which is awesome.
He's not going to go ahead and spend $750 on a box of cards for. I mean, I know he loves his kid, but he's going to be like, "Yes, sorry." You know, there are a few more things that are more important.
There's a couple of things we need to pay before spending $750 on cards.
You know, from that standpoint. And what they do is they start to, price the collector out of the market, right? You're a collector. You're not you're probably not thinking, "Hey, I'm going to go buy this box because I'm going to hit this card and then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to sell it." You buy stuff because you're a collector.
So, yeah, but there's a lot on the flip side. There's a lot of people that aren't collecting and that are there to make a buck, right? And you see it at the sports card shows. Like, you see them everywhere, right? Like,
oh yes, exactly. You know. Oh, hey, we got it. Victor. How you doing, buddy? Welcome. Yeah, you're right. And that's the kind of stuff that is happening where you have seen this influx of people who look and they're looking at it from an investment standpoint. I mean, look, I've talked to guys who have gotten, rookie cards of players, and they literally will say, "Hey, this card right here, this is my 401k." And it's like, buddy, if that's what you think your 401k is, yeah,
it ain't it.
I'm sorry, but it's not going to turn out the way you think it's going to turn out because it's too, it's too volatile. The pandemic went ahead and
talking about the pandemic. Just quick, just before I lose my thought. Before Connor Bedard, okay, for hockey guys, right? I relate it back to hockey. I know you guys are probably like, you know what, we want to talk baseball, I'm going to bring it back to hockey, guys, okay? I'm here to talk hockey. No, I'm kidding. But listen, before Connor Bedard, there was a guy named Alexis Lafreniere that came into the NHL that was getting drafted the year of the pandemic, so 2020, right? And in Montreal, this guy is a guy that I played versus. I used to be good, guys, at some point in hockey, and I just play for fun and drink beers. But before he got drafted, you should have seen the amount of hype in Montreal around collecting his rookie card. They had to get him. They rushed his rookie card. If you look at his rookie card, the picture was shot in an arena, a local arena. They had to blur the background, and they got him in the Rangers uniform when they took the picture because they wanted them out right away. They didn't want to wait for the NHL. Yeah, look up a Lafreniere rookie card, and you'll see it's blurred out background. Yeah, I remember the Lafreniere. Yeah, exactly. You remember it. It was crazy, man. In Montreal, people were going wild. That and toilet paper were the biggest craze during the pandemic. So, I mean, it was something else here in Montreal. But like I was saying, the prices went high, crazy. And when the card came out, card was around, I think, if I'm not mistaken, quote me if I'm wrong, around $700, $700 to $800, right, for his rookie.
Wow.
Card. Plays his first season. The card now, I think you can get it for probably $120, $100, maybe even under if it's not graded. You know what I mean? So, like, it goes to show you at what point it's volatile, the whole market, right? And like, it's really like you're risking it when you're paying that much for a box, you know?
What's up, Anthony? Yep. Look, there you go, Victor Hockey. Let's go LA Kings.
No, screw the Kings. Go Rangers.
Oh no.
And this is and to relate it back to the Rangers, this is my most valuable, like my most precious card to me. It's an Adam Fox rookie card signed.
Oh wow, very cool.
And it's a card that's very like Meaningful to me because he's my favorite player. So
Yep.
I like collecting Rangers cards. I have all the rookie cards of all the Rangers players, the most important ones. That's one thing that I love collecting.
How
So
does a guy of an original six Montreal Canadiens with all the
I know,
history
They'd
become a
call me a
friggin'
screw up here.
stranger fan?
Yeah. No,
Because
I know.
because I'm an Islanders fan, so I
Are
mean,
you?
yes.
So we just don't like each other then. I'm American. You're American. I'm Canadian. I'm a Rangers fan. You're an Islanders fan. We're never gonna get along over here.
How do you become a Rangers fan living in Montreal?
The answer's simple. My family, like most of the time, right? Like if you're growing up and you're seeing your dad being a Rangers fan, watching the
Yeah.
Rangers, watching Yager, watching Lundqvist, when I was younger, Brandon Shanahan, Chris Drury, all these players, you end up, like liking the team, right? And it's not necessarily like I didn't form my opinion at 4 years old with a notepad and I was like, you know what? Actually, I like this roster. I like the direction we're headed. So this is the team that I want. No, you follow you follow what your dad likes, and my uncle's a big Rangers fan as well. My uncle actually lived in Florida for a bit and was a Rangers fan there too. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, that's it. So like it was mostly because of that I'm a Rangers fan. But I'll tell you, when I go to games in Montreal, I will try to catch a Rangers game right at least once. They come here twice. I try to catch one of them. Sometimes it's hard to catch the other one because of timing. But I catch at least one. And when I go to a Rangers game when I go to the Canadians game with a Rangers jersey, um, yeah, no, it's not fun. And actually, I went with my friends to New York in November, and we went to a Devils game. Devils playing against whatchamacallit, the Edmonton Oilers. So that was fun to go watch, right? Because you get to see Connor McDavid. And at that game, just to stir the pot, because that's the type of guy I am, I threw on a Rangers
Rangers
jersey.
jersey.
Yeah, yeah. So that was fun. That was a fun experience too.
Yeah, I'm down in outside of Atlanta, and
Yeah.
we had I think the Flames were gone before I moved here. Then they had the
Yeah,
Thrashers.
it's true. You guys had the Atlanta Flames. It's true.
So the Flames went to Calgary. The Thrashers, did they go to Quebec
The Thrashers went to oh my god,
or
the
Winnipeg?
Thrashers. No, the Thrashers went to Winnipeg. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh my
So
god,
the
now I
Thrashers
knowledge.
became the Winnipeg Jets and everything, and
Yeah.
now uh,
Nordiques became Quebec became the Avalanche, Colorado Avalanche.
gotcha.
Yeah.
And so now, believe it or not, there's another group that are some ex NHL players and stuff that want to petition the NHL to come back here.
And what do you think about that? Like, what do you, as somebody that lives outside of Atlanta or within like the parameters of Atlanta, what do you think about that? Do you think like it will work? Because I know in Quebec they're like, if you talk about a team other than Quebec in the next expansion, they're gonna go for Gary Bettman's head. It's not gonna be fun. like we gotta put him in a witness protection program if they get a team elsewhere than Quebec. But what do you think about that?
Well, the one interesting thing is they are talking about it not actually being in the city where the Thrashers used to be. They're
Yeah, well
actually
that makes
they're
sense. Yeah,
actually moving to they want to move it to the northern suburbs where they think that is where most
it's
of
gonna work.
the hockey fans were coming from. So
Yeah.
the thought process I think is that from what they have said, their
Mm-hmm.
thought process is that if they move it there, they'll get better attendance because that's where the fans were coming from. They just didn't like traveling down
But
into the city.
But that poses a question though, because like if you compare, let's say like look at Ottawa. Ottawa is doing the reverse of that. Ottawa is moving from Canada, where it's like almost like it's a reserve basically, and it's difficult in access. If you're getting out of there in the parking, like if you're taking your car there and you're getting out with parking, it'll take you up to an hour because of how the lanes are made. It's like in a forest. It's really outside like of Ottawa. And they're
Oh,
bringing it
wow.
back into Ottawa now. Since the owner died, I can't remember his name. The owner died. The kids are taking over, and they're bringing it back into the city of Ottawa, where they're going to build the biggest arena in the world. So that's a fact for everybody watching. But that poses a question, though, right? Because Ottawa's always had good attendance Not in the beginning years when they were really horrible, but they've always had good attendance, right? Because Canada, people love hockey and they'll drive where they have to. If they have to, if Atlanta's asking the question, do we put it outside into suburbs? Does it mean that not enough people in the Atlanta region or in the Georgia region like hockey? Like, is it like, what do you feel? Like, what's the resentment around hockey from what you?
No, because what I think, I honestly think that what it is because it was where it was in the city
Yeah.
was easier it was somewhat easier from the people from the southern part of the people that were south of the city. It
Right.
was a little easier for them to get there than it was the people from the northern part of the city.
Oh,
But
okay,
here's the
okay, okay.
thing, the transplants that come from the hockey fan transplants, whether they coming from, Pennsylvania, New York, the Northeast, the upper Midwest and everything, most of them settle in here north of the city. So
Okay.
the thought is that the population that will
Attend the
support
games
the hockey, that will
is
attend the
outside.
games, is more north of the city than it is south of the city.
What do the people in the comments think? Should Atlanta get? I don't know if everybody follows hockey in the comments, but do you think Atlanta should be the next NHL city to get a franchise?
I don't know why they should. They've had 2 teams and both left.
It hasn't worked, right? So it's like,
So
yeah,
why would it work now?
yeah.
It's like, it's kind of like, when they think about, like when you look at basketball and stuff, or you even look at hockey, right? Hockey is very strategic where they go. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't think hockey would work in Nashville.
No, I mean, like if you think of it from a strategic, like just like that, like think
What
country people, you think
Nashville?
Tennessee
What are you out of your
Titans,
damn mind?
you think
But
you think baseball, you think maybe like football, you think some redneck people, not to offend the people of Tennessee, but you think
that's
some
all right.
rednecks, right? Nobody's gonna go in an arena.
Yeah.
Atlanta should lose all their sports. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we see your stats.
We're not fans. It doesn't bother me. If they all left, it wouldn't bother me at all either.
Even the
I
Falcons.
won't.
Falcons are not bad this year.
No, but I don't care. I'm a New York. I mean, I've lived here long, but it doesn't make a difference. It's funny. People go, "Well, you moved away from New York long enough ago. Shouldn't you change?" And it's like, no. What's wrong with you? Why would
Okay,
I
you were
go
born
ahead?
in New York.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
okay, makes
I was
sense.
born in New York. Lived there, 35 years and everything. I was like, why would I go ahead and
No, like yeah,
change?
that's my team. Like I was just like,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, that crap ain't happening.
Just tell them I know a guy that lives in Montreal that's born in Montreal and
He's
knows
a
he's
Ranger
a
fan.
Rangers fan. So yeah, he has issues. Contact him.
Yeah. So with no football, who's your football team? Because you're a sports guy,
Listen.
right?
So yeah, so before I started my sports page, it's been maybe 3 years, right? That I started my sports page. In the year before I started my sports page, I tell one of my closest friends, I had told him, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start following football because he was like, let's make a draft. Come in my fantasy. But I'm like, I don't know nothing about football. I'm like, let me start following football. But I'm like, I'll hop in just for fun. But I'm like, I don't know much, right? So you guys are probably gonna kill me. But I'm like, I'll choose a team. I'm like, give me 2 weeks and I'll choose a team. I watched the first 2 weeks and it ended up being the Los Angeles Rams. I'm following
Okay.
the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah.
And the Los Angeles Rams end up winning the Super Bowl. So then I seem like a bandwagon. So it's just never a win-win with me. Every time I say something, I'll just get Connor McDavid played there in Bakersfield before. Should have tried to get his autograph.
AJ's out in Bakersfield, California.
Well, yeah, no, it's yeah, he's a feisty guy. He was a quiet guy too in juniors though. So
Did you see the thing with him? That there was a clip. He was I don't know if it was a card show or a card signing.
oh, that was me. I posted that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, with the little kid.
Yeah, I
And
posted
he
that.
kid turns around and he throws the jersey. I thought I knew I saw it, so I couldn't remember if it was on yours. Yeah, the kid takes the jersey and throws it in the water
Yeah.
or the
Yeah,
fountain,
but like
whatever it was.
at those events though, they can't like I was talking about it with my parents, I'm like at those events, like because my dad was like, why didn't you just sign it? It's for the kids, right? But at those events, they can't, like, they have like contractual obligations. And
Oh,
even though
really?
the guy wants to sign it, like, it's tough, you know, because I've been to some of those signings, you know, like the Best Buy here. It's called Best Buy. I don't know if you guys have. Do you guys have them in the States?
We do.
Yeah. So Best Buy. I went to a Best Buy signing of a Canadians goalie when I was younger with my dad, and they were giving out like these. At that event, they ended up signing some of the cards. Like, they made exceptions, I guess, right? But when I was younger, I went with my dad, and they were giving out like these like Best Buy cards of a picture with the goalie. That's on the card, you know, with a Best Buy jersey, and that was the only thing that he could have signed, right? so, so whatever. Everybody was lining up, and they ended up only signing that. But my dad, my dad was like, "No, you're gonna sign my signs card." So I got my 3 cards signed by him. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. I know hockey with expansion and everything. I think they've 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 changed it so much. I guess it's good the way they've changed the expansion to where now an expansion team, if they're doing it right, they're not
Yeah.
like gonna suck for many years.
Yeah, and the MLS too, like for soccer too, you know, like you're paying, like, especially now when Messi joined, right? And I think
Yeah,
Messi, just to relate it back to cards, Messi's like, when they soccer cards are all under tops, right? If I'm not mistaken, it's tops and Panini, right?
Tops and Panini. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and their cards are beautiful, by the way. Those tops MLS cards and those tops cards, I find them so nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I see the pictures, like now, especially more because they're posting all like the MLS ones of Messi and like all the players that are joining, like Marco Royce and all that stuff. And like, you're paying, let's say, almost $1 billion for an MLS franchise. The owner doesn't want to start from the bottom and build his way to the top. Like, you
Right.
gotta give like the owner a bit of juice too. Like, if I'm gonna invest in a franchise and I'm gonna put that much money into a franchise, especially, look, you see the Seattle Kraken. Um, well, Utah's not really an expansion team, but it's just a relocation. But they're putting money. They want to have a good team to start with. They want to have
Vegas.
something. Vegas, yeah,
Vegas.
That was a fluke. Like, they had a good team, like
Yeah.
good players, right? They had a selection of good players, right? A lot of guys that weren't given their shot in their day of light at all, like prior in their careers. So there they got a shot and they really showed it. But like, you want to start with something. You don't want to start from the bottom, because or else like you're not gonna get your revenue at all. And that's the only place I'll feel for the owners, that like when they start, you know, like if you have an expansion team, like you want them to be good, like you say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, if I think that was one of the things, that also, hurt, the Thrashers. They got some good draft. It was a different. They were they came in as an expansion team, but the rules were different.
Yeah, they got like the
And,
worst players, like
right. And
worst
even
players.
though, they had they wound up getting Kovalchuk and
Evander Kane
Danny
was there for a bit
and
too.
Heatley and that Patrick Stefan. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, they had some high draft picks, but it doesn't make a difference. You could have the top draft pick 3 years in a row. If the
yeah.
other freaking 15 guys on that are playing that night, if they all suck, who
It's
cares?
a team sport, man. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, you can't like. Yeah, I can't put one guy on the ice at all 60 minutes of the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So,
no, no. I understand that.
from that standpoint, it's a
How come?
I think NHL has done, a good thing from that standpoint. But to be honest with you, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big. I mean, I understand expansion. I understand the need with the fans and stuff like that and everything. But I mean, do you really like? At what point is it too many?
Right, right. That's it. Like the NHL, if the NHL does another expansion team, they'll have to do another right after that, because that would be 33 NHL teams,
Right.
and you can't have an impair number, right? So
Yeah.
like you have to. But my question is, like, if we're on the topic of expand, yeah, and just to cap that question off, there is a limit on too many teams. Like at some point, you're gonna have a 60-team standings. Like, it's ridiculous at some point. You know, there's too many teams to cheer for. But and you're diluting revenue as well, right? So, at what point, like, My only question is, okay, I understand the MLB, if they don't want to expand another team to Canada, like what? Why don't like to talk about the MLB quick? How come the MLB doesn't do another expansion team?
I think. I mean, honestly, I think part of it has to do with when you look at the Florida Miami Marlins, and they don't draw. You look at Chicago White Sox. I mean, for crying out
Oh
loud,
yeah, that was horrible.
I
Even
mean,
the A's.
from that standpoint, and you even look at a team like the Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays, how I mean, they've had an off year, but going to the World Series, making the playoffs, competing all the time. Yet you couldn't, they couldn't fill those. They couldn't fill
But
those stadiums and everything,
you
and I
guys
don't.
don't help yourselves at all, though. Like these two, like I never understood the logic in 2 p.m. games. I really never understood it. Like on a Tuesday at 2 p.m., who's watching? Like diehards are watching baseball, but I mean, like other people are rolling up their sleeves and going to work. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no, I think, they've done some things, it's like, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know why. They can expand. Well, like Dom says here, there is talk of Nashville and coming back to Montreal.
They wanted to do Montreal to relate back to Montreal. They wanted to do the Rays half. Wanted to do half a season in Tampa, and when it
Yeah.
gets back warm, they come to Montreal. But
Yeah.
like, how crazy is that? Who would want to do that? You know what I
I
mean?
I
The families, it's crazy for the families.
yeah. 2 p.m. games are for summer camps, and that's true. I mean, during the summer and stuff like that, you could get, the idea of, I think, the game trying to add in some more games during the week, especially during the summer months when the kids are off from school, is it trying to get younger kids to come to the games and everything. But then, by the same token, the prices are expensive and stuff like that. So that's that double-edged sword of who can go, who can't go, and so on and so forth. You know, baseball, again, when you look at it, like, if to me, if you have if you and that's why I don't understand expansion as a whole when it comes to the actual product on the field, on the court, on the ice, whatever it may be, right? Because to me, expand when you're saying, man, the league has a lot of parity. The league can afford to go ahead and spread some of the talent out and still have teams, do well. I just
Right,
don't think you see that happening very often. Very
right.
often, you just see all of a sudden, I mean, look, like the Oakland A's, of
It's
what they
sad.
were
I
doing and
find that
stuff like
sad.
that.
I
And
look
now
at
they're
it like
moving to Las Vegas. So that
I find
team,
it sad.
yeah,
It's a beautiful
but
like
that's
the
an
team
owner
has so
thing.
much history in a sense, like, and it's an end of an era. First of all, in Oakland, like Oakland lost all their professional sports teams.
Yep.
I think now they're gonna have a AAA team, if I'm not mistaken, play in the Oakland. Well,
Yeah.
where Oakland was playing, I think that's something I heard. I'm not too sure, but it's sad. Like you see a team with that much kind of history in a sense, and like, and I'm
But
not just talking about
that
Moneyball,
is
but like you know what I mean. Like
Oakland is a little different of a that is a greedy ass owner,
yeah, eh?
because I think it got to the point to where, honestly, he didn't want to work with the city, because supposedly the city made offers and everything, and like every time they'd make a good offer, he'd be like, okay, but, and they, okay, but. I think it was one of those things that I think he just, I just think, that is more owner driven, uh, you know, from that standpoint. But then, even, yeah, so like, even like Dom says, they're able to move. They're going to move to a smaller city. Vegas is smaller than Oakland, and they still have to build the stadium, and they have and they have no real. They don't have any kind of fee or
they're gonna
anything.
start,
So,
but they're for sure starting the season right in Las Vegas next year.
no, no, next season they're starting. They're going to be playing in Sacramento at a AAA stadium.
That's wild. Like you think, like this reminds me completely of the Coyote situation, and that's another situation where the owner couldn't count his funds
Yeah.
correctly, and like that held on to something. That was a project that was held on to way too long.
Yep.
Phoenix, Arizona, get the team out of there. It wasn't working. And you have NHL players, professional players, playing. Yeah, 8,000 seat stadium.
Yeah, that's what the Oakland A's. The Oakland A's
What type
stadium,
of?
the 8,000.
That's smaller than NHL arenas. That's I think smaller than where.
Oh wow.
No. Well, the Phoenix Coyotes were playing. The Arizona Coyotes were playing in a 5,000 seat stadium arena last year.
Oh wow.
Like they played in the Arizona Sun Devils hockey arena.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And like players that you play there, okay, fine, you like the city, you're happy, you're not moving, but it's not a way to like it's not a way to get athletes to come and sign. Like you will not sign free agents. Like the A's are not signing anyone this offseason. I don't know if there's any A's fans in this chat or whatever, but
Yeah.
your team's gonna suck for a while. It's gonna suck even more this
they're
year.
not gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Dom. Yeah. And
Yeah,
to your point,
exactly. You see? Yeah.
to your point, from that standpoint, from the Coyotes perspective, or even let's talk about the A's also. What, like I understand people are going to say, hey, you're a professional, you should be happy that you get to play a kid's game and get paid for it. I understand that. But if you're a guy, if you're whoever, for for the Coyotes or something like that, right?
Yeah.
How excited were you for home games?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like it was pretty empty. It was pretty empty.
Think about it. It's 5,000 and you couldn't go ahead and sell it out.
Yeah, they could. Well, I think they did like a student there. I think they had no choice but to embrace the element of being a small arena. And you know what? We're not going to make as much revenue this year because the team wasn't great, and like obviously they weren't playing in the biggest stadium, but they almost sneaked into the playoffs, which good for them. But I think they embraced it well. They did it well, but in a sense, like it's like when you're going to games, especially like them, like the A's, right? And now they're Utah Hockey Club. And to go to Utah Hockey Club, now they're playing in the Utah Jazz Arena, and there's a section, Mike, where fans can't even see well the whole ice because it's a concept basketball arena.
Oh, really?
So there's a section where like you'll see the ice starting from the blue line, and people are like watching. You're like, well, I don't know what's happening in our zone right now. I don't know what's happening in this side of the zone. I swear, it's crazy.
So you only see 2/3 of the ice.
Yeah, basically. Exactly. And I don't know how much they're charging for those tickets. If they're still charging regular price, that's
holy
crazy.
cow.
But yeah, no, it's horrible. But let's say like the A's, like how can you get pumped to go play now in Sacramento, knowing that the team sucks, and they won't sell out the 8,000 seats because it's baseball. First of all, baseball popular sport, but you're not going to sell out all 8,000 seats. It's just guaranteed, especially when a team's bad, And then you have these players. It's not even the aspect of playing in an empty stadium. It's the aspect of you see these guys flying Delta, like just amongst the common man in a sense, like which is, they're not better than anybody else. But I'm saying like they're athletes and they're flying in middle in normal seats. Like you saw them at the airport. Did you see that video of them at the airport waiting to grab their bags? Like that's crazy to me. That is a professional sports team. Like
I think the one thing that the A's have going for them in moving to Sacramento is they are a very, very young team.
Yeah.
So I think the excitement of being a 22, 23, 24-year-old guy playing Major League Baseball and stuff like that, I think that'll – but to me, that only lasts so long.
Yeah, because at some point you're going to be like, I want more.
Now, this is a big –
gets to be 110.
so, it's going to be, so I think, but again, like with anything, that's going to wear off.
At some point, right? Yeah, you can't have two seasons of that. And the whole year, it's like they're going to end up playing in other stadiums and see what it's like to play under the lights where a stadium's packed and people are eating their ballpark franks and people are all happy to be there. And you come back and you're like in your scummy arena where you're bringing your bag like this. And you're like,
and I tell you, when they move to Vegas, it'll be different. Because it'll be interesting with Vegas because of how touristy it is, and people, for the first few years, people are going to want to go. Oh, we're in Vegas. Let's go to the baseball game. Oh, we're in Vegas. All that kind of stuff, and and they will have their fans, and they'll do okay, but again, to your point a little before is that, okay, if you're not doing well, doesn't matter at some point in time. I mean, fans are gonna stop coming,
Vegas gets
and
that edge because at least they're a touristy city. You know, like let's
true.
say like New York, right? New York. Well, okay, New York is different, but let's say you look at New York's teams, like they'll never be bad in the sense because they can't be bad for long because people are gonna go and
No,
riot.
let me tell you something. When in the 80s and the 90s, when the New York Mets sucked, man,
It was horrible. Horrible
it
time
was
to be alive, no?
it was empty. It
Yeah.
was empty.
Well,
MLB is a little bit there. There's those certain few teams, but to your point, it was like we were talking. I was talking about it the other night with somebody, and I said, the Yankees. They're one of those franchises. The Dodgers. Those are one of those franchises where
you can't destroy them.
they
And you can't be
can't be
bad.
bad. Like
They have that money.
they can't all of a sudden and go, guess what?
We suck.
We're trading everybody and we're
Yeah.
going to rebuild mode.
That's wild.
They just can't. Like the legacy is so much that
Yeah.
they can't.
And what helps them too to not like you guys have a luxury tax in the MLB, right? So
Right.
you're not like they'll always have owners with a lot of money.
Well, not only
Right?
that, and then they also have local cable deals. So
Yeah.
they have the Yes Yet Network.
Yeah,
Which is
yes,
the
it's for
Yankee,
the Yankees, right?
yeah, which is the Yankees Entertainment Sports Network. So the New York Yankees sign a deal with the Yes Network to go
Yeah, I didn't even
ahead
know
and
it
show
stood for
their
that.
games.
I didn't even know it stood for that.
Yeah, so that and then they get what, 200 million, $250 million a year to show the games. So right there, they're kind of already paying the salaries
Yeah.
and all the other kind of,
Right.
crazy
Right.
stuff.
And then sometimes even players will take, let's say, like what's the comment say? A's are opening to MLB. The one they're gonna pay someone else. Yeah.
Yeah.
But look, to get to your point about the Yankees, like playing in the big cities for players also allows the teams to pay them less because you'll get endorsement deals that'll be brought up within your contract. Like let's say like Aaron Judge is like a walking legend right now in New York. That guy will get endorsed. Well, they paid him his money. I'm contradicting myself because they paid him his money, but in the sense that like if let's say the Cleveland Guardians wanted to get Aaron Judge, they'd have to pay a lot more than what the Yankees paid for Aaron Judge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There are certain teams, you're right, that they will go ahead and have to pay, more, to retain a player. That's why before they traded him, the Nationals offered, Juan Soto $425 million. Now, he'll get more than that now, but back then, people were like, oh
That's
my
a lot of money.
gosh.
How could you turn that down?
How could you say no? And he
Yeah.
did. And he bet on himself. And eventually he got to New York. And
Yeah.
now, if you're the New York Yankees, how do you let him go ahead and get away?
You can't.
Now, you may not be able to because the richest owner in sports is actually across the river in Queens, New York, the owner of the New York Mets.
But how come the Mets have problems keeping guys though?
Because up until a few years ago, the Mets had probably some of the worst ownership in baseball. They did not want they did two different things. They would make promises and not keep them, and then they would go ahead and they didn't want to spend. They didn't want. Now they tried to talk about how they got taken advantage of through some investments and stuff like that, and it might be true, it might not be true. I don't know.
Like,
I don't know if you ever heard of Bernie Madoff.
yeah.
Well, supposedly the two owners, the Wilpons, they were involved with him, is what
Oh
they
yeah.
say and everything and stuff like that, and they
Yeah,
lost
but how do
money.
okay? So how's that my problem as a fan though? Like if you can't pay for the team, like in a sense, no. What I'm saying is to your point. It's like you want to make people feel bad. Oh no, we can't pay for players now because we got ripped off. Then sell the team.
Yeah,
Sell the team.
yeah. Or you do have rich owners in big markets that don't want to spend money.
Yeah, so it's like don't buy the team. Nobody's putting a gun to your head and saying go buy the Yankees, go buy the Mets, sell them. If you cannot put up with the task you have at hand of keeping, because an owner can make or break a team, like we've seen in many.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? And especially in baseball, when there's a luxury tax and you can really spend to whatever you want to spend, right? But it's like, if you don't want to do it, don't do it, man. You know, Mets previous experience. All right, but yeah, no, and that's another question talking about the Mets. Like, how can you guys let DeGrom just leave like that? Like that guy just strolled out of New York.
I mean, that was a as a Mets fan, as a Jacob DeGrom fan,
Yeah.
in my opinion, that was a risk versus reward type deal. They did offer him a fair contract, a 3-year deal. It was fair for him of coming off another injury-plagued year. But Texas said, "Hey, we'll give you a 5-year we'll give you 5 years."
Yeah.
And he went and he left, because of the contract and everything. And I don't blame him. I mean,
No.
when you look at his history, right? And you think about it, right? He just came off some injury stuff. The Mets offered him a 3-year deal. He doesn't take it. He goes to the Rangers. He signs that 5-year, whatever it was, $180-something million deal. Look what happened in year 1. He goes on the shelf.
Yeah. How did because I'm not a Mets fan, right? So how did the Mets fans, like, how did you guys feel about that in that moment? Like when you guys saw that DeGrom was going to the Rangers, were you guys like, oh shit? Or like,
So,
you know what? I understand.
So, I mean, it was a combination, it was, I would say it was split 50-50. The ones that the super fanatics who are like, I don't care. I want him no matter what. And don't get me wrong. I was upset that he left.
Yeah, you're upset, but it's
Like,
like
I
you
would have been like,
understand.
I'm upset he left. I understand. Like, I would have been more pissed off if, let's say, the 2 deals were equal.
And he
And
went to the
and he
Rangers.
chose not to stay, right?
But then there's also, you have to look at it from the fact that also there's the state tax, right? So New York City with a lot of state with a lot of tax,
but
so like you
like
look
I
at
said,
that
though,
sometimes. But sometimes a lot of players will put that whatever aside and they'll be like, you know what, I like New York. And once again, like I said, you get endorsements. Like Jacob DeGrom walking in New York as compared to walking in Texas, completely different feeling for him. Like he walks in New York, the guy's an idol once again. You know, like I'm saying. He walks in Texas, nobody knows who he is. You know, well, it's a statement, but
most definitely. But like I said, when you take a step back and you take the Mets fan hat off and you take the jersey off and you go, okay, 3 years. I don't know I forgot what that was. Let's say 100 million versus 5 years, 185 million. At the end of the day, how could you really be mad at the guy for going ahead and going for $185 million?
you can't be mad at him.
No,
Yeah, you can't.
but you're pissed
At
because
losing him because he was a good player.
right, and you're pissed because one of the reasons why they got in this situation, and it's probably the same reason why they will probably lose Pete Alonso, is that when they should have been trying to negotiate, they don't, and then all of a sudden you let things just go ahead and happen, and then players are like, yeah, whatever.
You're saying they're procrastinators, like the owners are procrastinators?
I think with some of the players they did. They a lot sometimes
stretched it out too long.
With the with the new owner, we're not sure, but with the other owners, with the Wilpons were one of those ones where it was like, look, we, we'll negotiate with you in the last year, of your contract. We won't do anything, beforehand. And,
right.
And that, that hurts. I mean,
it's a double-edged sword because it could work in your favor, just like if the guy pops off and the year before he finishes his contract, it's like, well, damn, like we just shot ourselves in the foot here,
Yeah, I mean, you look at Judge, right? Yeah. Judge went ahead. He had turned down that deal with the Yankees. Yeah. Bet on himself, and what does he do? He hits 62 freaking home runs.
Yeah, then it's like, well, now we have to pay him. We have to pay him this much more.
There you go.
Like, well, that's fun.
Just add add a couple more numbers on there,
Yeah,
Mr.
add like 2 more
Steinbrenner.
zeros.
Just add a little more, add more numbers. So, but
Yeah.
that's what happens, right? Pete Alonso, I mean, is a good example. The Mets had offered him 6 years.
Oh, Pete Alonso to
think
the Giants.
I think it was 150 million is what the Mets offered him. And he did not have a good year this year. Hit 34
No,
home runs. His average sucked.
average
His
year.
his running his average with runners in scoring position was horrible. And now he's probably, going to have to. I don't know what the Mets will do, but he may put in a situation kind of like what Matt Carpenter was, what some of these other guys were, whether he's going to have to sign, like a 3-year deal. Looks like it's a lot of money, but they'll have opt-outs in it.
Yeah. Well,
And,
a guy in the chat was saying Polar Pete to the Giants.
Bear,
Oh, Polar Bear. I didn't even see the jersey. I didn't even see the shirt. That's something else you guys have to explain to me. And maybe if he's a Giants fan, why does everybody look fat in a Giants jersey? like, how wild is that?
I think it's just because it's that cream color.
I don't know
and
what it is.
stuff.
Like Brandon Crawford looked like he weighed 600 pounds in a Giants jersey. I'm exaggerating here, but still.
Yeah, no. I don't know. I mean, so
You understand what I'm saying?
heck yeah.
I love
I don't
it.
know. It's but it's the whole thing that's what's so interesting about the sports and how things are handled so differently when it comes to players, like how the NFL players, free
Well,
agency
now
and
there
or
was a big like dilemma with the running backs. Running
yeah,
backs became an overvalued position.
yep,
And it's like, well, this guy's gonna give us 5, max 6 prime years in his career, and then he's done. He's burnt, like
yep,
mentally and physically, right? So,
yeah.
like, and that's what's fun to see in every sport, and like the way ownership handles things in every sport differently compared to the other major sports, right? And that's another question. Like, we were talking about expansions before, and now we're talking about the NFL. Like, why doesn't the NFL like? I understand the exclusivity about the NFL, right? They're Sunday, they're on the day of the Lord, Sunday, that's their day, that's the NFL's day in America. Why? I feel like if they put one team in Canada, that's it. I don't know how it could hurt them. Like, I feel most Canadians rally around the Bills because they're right across the border.
Right.
But a lot of fans, well, in Montreal, there's a lot of Patriots fans.
Oh,
I'm
sure.
But and the same thing probably everywhere. But just like I don't understand how the NFL doesn't see an opportunity just to put one team in Canada. How that can't be beneficial.
So I'm just curious. I mean, I don't know. Is there anything could have anything to do with the Canadian Football League that they can't go there?
That I'm not sure of. To be
Because
quite honest,
because think about they'll play over in London, they'll play in Germany, they play in Mexico City, didn't
but
they?
why doesn't it? So
Where
why
the
don't they just
Eagles?
make it strategic where the CFL and the XFL, because CFL is the longest, is the league with the longest amount of time being a professional football league, right? Longer than the NFL.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, football's a Canadian sport. In a sense, it's I'm not claiming it's a Canadian sport, but it was started by Canadians. Okay, so we'll just put that out there. But the point is that why doesn't both like I don't understand how the CFL won't be like, let's merge with the XFL, reduce the number of teams, make some mergers, and the NFL would then be able to. Well, like I mean, it's not Canada, eh? Yeah, hey, bud. But no, but like I don't see why the CFL doesn't do that with the XFL, and then maybe the NFL. I don't know. Maybe you're right there. I never thought of that. So you're kind of bamboozling me here a bit, but
No, I'm just saying, like, I
maybe
don't
you're
know.
right because it infringed, right? Like, okay, you guys are the National Football League, but like we're the CFL, we have rights to all Canadian teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, probably that's something. Yeah, probably.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't. I think it would be better than them potentially thinking that they may friggin' expand into friggin', London or Germany.
Oh, they want to
That
do that, eh?
that one. Well, I'm just saying, if that. Well, think about it. That's where they play games, right? This Sunday, my Jets against the Minnesota Vikings 9:30 a.m. because they're playing in London.
That sucks though. Yeah, like as somebody that watches the NFL, like I feel like the perfect slot is that 1 p.m. slot with that
Yes.
4 p.m. start time. Like 9:30, and then after that, what do you do with your day? You know, Padres versus Dodgers.
The Padres have taken out the baseball team from Georgia.
There you
Yes.
go. There you go. There you go. The Mets won tonight, right?
No, they lost, so they got to
You
go.
guys lost. You guys blew a lead.
They got to know. Yeah, they got to go back. What was they were only winning 3-2.
You got well, yeah, no, it was 3-1 at one point, eh?
Oh, was it?
It
I
was
thought it was
3-1.
3. I thought it
Well,
was
whatever. It's
3-2.
not a big lead, but still.
So, but they get to go to New York.
Yeah, at least
for the
probably
third
close
game.
off
I
the series
think.
in New
I
York.
think they go to New York, or I don't think they
Padres
play all
versus
3.
Dodgers. That's gonna be a hell of a series. It's gonna be a heck of a series.
Padres died. Yeah, it's interesting from a standpoint of like opponent, like they've played each other plenty.
And that's
Of,
what's amazing about it. That's the
plenty of
history.
time. You know, from that standpoint. But I think I don't know. But I mean, like I said, I don't know. You know, NFL and CFL. I mean, you know, I think part of it also. I don't know. I don't know how you could merging. Even if you were to merge with, so there is no more XFL.
Yeah, there is the
the
XFL, no?
the XFL and that other spring league, the USFL, they merged together this past spring.
Right. Yeah, that's it. Yes.
Now,
but I think they're still under the banner of the XFL, though. I think the XFL bought the USFL, if I'm not mistaken.
oh, okay.
Probably.
So I guess my only thing would be is that the games are different.
Yeah, no, well, look, I mean, most Canadian, like, when we're growing up as Canadians here, let's say if you're playing football, like I played football in high school, and we played under American standards. We
So
didn't play
your high school plays under American standards, but your professional
we
league
played under
plays a
American
different set of
standards.
rules?
Yeah, so we played under American standard, even all the way to college football. Well, because we have college here, and then we have university. So university would be like the college in the States.
Okay.
You refer to like Alabama and stuff like that, Alabama U and stuff like that. That would be like our university. So we have McGill here and stuff like that. But even in college and in university, they play under American standards. We don't play like this 3-down football that they're playing in the CFL, which I get more intense sometimes. Like it's cool, but like, I mean,
it's interesting that the kids growing up don't play.
No,
but they could potentially play as a professional.
And most of the kids, the best talents. I went to Vanier College, which is a it's a college in Montreal, and we had one of the best Canadian prospects. We had the second best Canadian prospect that was a defensive back and a wide receiver at the same time. His name is Ben LaBrosse. You can search him up. Ben LaBrosse went to play in Syracuse and then he came back here and whatever. Now he's playing in the CFL. But point of the matter is that a lot of people like youth sports in Canada, which would be like the NCAA, is nothing compared to the NCAA and all the NIL deals that they have and how incredible it is. So here, people don't have interest of learning how to play CFL, like how to play CFL standards, because the money's to be made in the States or the education's to be gotten in the States, right? If you're a good player. So, you know.
I traveled to Montreal earlier this year for work, and I stayed at the Hilton Laval.
Oh yeah, okay, you were in Laval. Yeah, right next to the shopping mall. Yeah. So Laval has the best university team in all of Canada.
Really?
For football. Yeah. Them and Université de Montréal, it's called, they're the two best university football teams. Maybe the NFL doesn't go to Canada because they have to call the plays in French. That's only in Quebec, man. That's only in Quebec. We're a bit special. We're a bit special here.
Bilingual. Yeah, I tell you that. So I go up there. I was to do some work and everything.
Right.
And I was up there for a week. So I was like, you know what? I want to get, some water or some snack, just some stuff to have in my watch. I was gonna be
I,
there for like 10 days.
I
So I was
feel
gonna
like I
be
know
there.
where this is going.
I was gonna be there for over the weekend and everything, So I'm like, okay, I'll go to the grocery store,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this is gonna be easy. This is gonna be great. And everything. I walk in, I'm like, oh crap, everything's in French.
Yeah, in
I have no.
Montreal.
I'm
But
like,
you
I
were
have.
that was that in Laval though? Were you in
Yeah,
Laval at that point?
yeah.
Okay, Laval's a little less is a bit more bilingual than Montreal itself. If you were to go to a grocery store in Montreal, the problem with Montreal is that they have this high standard of keeping French everywhere. Laval has all the immigrants,
Ah,
like us Italians, Greeks, Armenians, everybody's there. So people that work there most likely are English and don't even speak French.
way to go,
So
Paisan.
yeah, there you go. Oh, you're a paisan too, eh?
Heck
There we
yeah,
go.
last name is Gentili, baby.
It's true. Yes, I saw that when you wrote to me. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um.
that's
So
yeah.
it was weird as a hell because I'm like, oh my gosh. Now, luckily, with the phone, you put the translate on, and I'm going, okay, what is this? What is this? But it was a different shopping experience of trying to find certain things. And what's the one cool thing though is you all of a sudden see things that you don't see here. Like
Yeah.
you see certain flavors of just like, let's say, potato chip.
Ketchup chips. Yeah, like ketchup. Do you like ketchup,
Right.
by the way? Ketchup chips.
I know. I didn't have any. I didn't get any. So I don't know how they are. But I was like,
I'll keep you a bag here for next time you come.
I'm like, okay. I have, I
Yeah.
don't know.
But I think you guys take the cake when it comes to like most flavors and everything. I think you guys have you guys pretty much
What?
have everything. You guys are the
Yeah.
the universe of consumption, man. And it's awesome. Not that I'm shitting on it, man. You guys have everything. It's awesome.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can't even get certain channels here. Like it's hard to get HBO here. It's hard to get certain things. Like you have to. It's like even our Net like even you just compare it to Netflix. Like our Netflix doesn't even get channels or things you want to see.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. That you guys get like things that movies you guys get on Netflix we don't get here. So
That's crazy.
even as a sports fan, let's say they don't show Hard Knocks on TV here.
No?
No, they don't show Hard Knocks on TV here. You'd have to catch like a rerun during the week. Like how crazy is that?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That
But
is crazy.
a last question maybe before we cap it off.
Yes, yeah.
So I have my two cards right here, like my two other cards.
Yep.
So this card that I'm going to show you is a card that like is I love tennis. I'm a big tennis fan, and I went to the Sports Expo the card expo that we had here in Laval actually last what was it? I think it was in May, and I ended up getting this graded 10 Rafa Nadal rookie card because I like tennis,
Wow.
and this is what it looks like. And I paid this thing $60. How is it that one of the best players in tennis, his rookie card, goes for $60? How does that make any sense?
More than likely just because of knowledge.
Because of knowledge?
Knowledge, it's a knowledge. Number one, it's knowledge of people not realizing, it's not a market that is a collectible market. So what I'm saying is that the knowledge of the people will not realize how good of a player he is.
Yeah.
To go ahead and have his card be at a larger, at a higher price.
And I think now Topps signed with the ATP, which is the all tennis player, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, they just came out recently with
cards.
Topps Chrome Tennis.
Yeah, they look good. They look real nice.
Really nice.
So I was just surprised. I was walking and I'm like, wow, $60 for this. I'm like, that's cool. Like I'll take a rookie card for $60. One of the best tennis players ever.
Yep.
And then this was another card. And like I told you, right, my dad always brought me up to the hockey, right? We always watched hockey together. My dad made me collect hockey cards when I was younger. Always bought my cards. And at one point I was just flip-flopping through my hockey cards because I collect them every year. I buy both Upper Deck series and I fill them up in my booklet. And I was looking through my cards at one point. I was like, this card looks familiar. I've seen it on a video. I've seen it on eBay. I've seen it somewhere. I think this card has value. So it's an Alex Ovechkin rookie card.
Oh wow.
That I have, and it's they were saying that this card, like there's certain that cost more than the other because of the fans that are cut into the image. Like over here, I don't know if you see it well, but over here, like
Uh-huh.
there's certain fans that are included in some of the prints and
Oh,
not in,
really?
yeah. So like there's some fans that are included in some, and if you have them, I think it's worth more or whatever it is. But when I saw this, I was like, oh my god, I gotta get this in a box. I gotta get this thing like protected and whatever. So it's cool. And like I said, I collect cards, right? Because I want to relate it back to what you do primarily, right? Because I
Mhm.
respect that and I love it. And I like what really impressed me and sort of I appreciate about the like what you have going here is that you know about sports and you know your stuff. Like there's a lot of people you talk to within the hobby that don't know anything about certain sports and that are collecting cards and that the only way they'll base their value off of it is going on an eBay last price sale or whatever it is.
Right.
Where
Yep.
you grew up, hey, me till the age of 19, from the age of 7 to 19, all I wanted to be was a professional baseball player.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not everybody that's like that. And you should see there's a lot of people there that's like, not for like, first and foremost, obviously they make money off of it, but not for the passion of the sport itself, right? And that's what I think is fun. If you need to like the sport to be able to, anyway, that's my opinion on it.
No, but you're right, but I think that's where, like we were talking earlier from a standpoint of is and even like I was saying, like with a Rafa Nadal card,
Yeah,
the collector, the person who understands the fan, the collector is gonna look at that and go, "Oh my gosh, that's a rookie card."
yeah. Oh,
You
yes,
know,
you were talking about that before. You were like, "That's
right?
my
And and
401k."
and there's gonna
Yeah,
be other people that they will not they like to your point, the when if I and I hate to say it because they not saying that they didn't necessarily they haven't ruined the hobby. They have changed the hobby somewhat, but when the investors came in and it was all about, I'm buying, I'm holding, I'm gonna, try and sell as much as I can. And I don't mean the guys who like I sell cards also. I have an eBay store, right? I sell cards, but I sell
that's fine.
cards
That's fine.
I
Nobody's
sell
nobody's
cards
condemning that.
$2, $3, $5, $8, right? I'm not buying a card for 20,000 and selling it for 30.
No,
But what
but those
happened
eight
was
dollar
is
cards are the best. The people that are buying those $8 cards are the people that see value in it, other than the $8 they're spending on it.
they're a collector. And
Yeah,
I think that's what I'm saying. That's why I think like when you see someone like a Nadal and you see that rookie card, it's because in an investor's mind, that's tennis.
yeah.
It's
It's worthless.
it's not the player.
Yeah, I'm not
It
here to
it
sell the card. Like for me, it's cool.
right, so I think that's why there's certain cards like that where you won't go ahead and you won't have to pay, 5, 6, $800, for a rookie card and stuff, right?
Right, right.
From that standpoint. But then you like when you look at baseball, there are kids who get drafted, don't and their first card, what their Bowman, usually Bowman puts out a Bowman first. An example, Drew Jones, a guy who was Andrew Jones used to play for the baseball team in Georgia. He was like a number one pick of Arizona
How come you don't call them the Braves?
because I can't stand them. I don't want to say their name.
Because I noticed that the first time I'm like, okay, maybe he's just, and then I'm like, the baseball team in Georgia. I'm like, okay, maybe there's something there.
I hate I hate them that much. I don't
I
even want to say their
respect that. I
name.
respect that. I like that.
And so here's this kid, Drew Jones, and there was a company called Dave and Adams who put out a bounty for his one of one card that they said whoever pulls it will pay you $250,000 for it.
Wow.
Not a major leaguer. You're talking about a low level minor league baseball player. $250,000 they offered for that card.
And how much did it end up selling for?
I don't they that there so there was a kid that went a kid and his father in either maybe Iowa or something like that actually pulled it and they said, "Okay, you got it. Not worth us going ahead and taking a chance. You got it." And they sold it to them and they paid him $250,000
Wow,
for the
that's
card.
wild story. Do you
You
guys
know?
before because I have to wrap it up soon on my end, but
Yes, sir.
before I leave, is what's a card in recent time you'd say, other than hockey, right? Because I know the hockey ones that like was so hyped up before it came out, like extremely hyped up, and when it came out, like it died and crashed like abruptly. You know what I mean? You get what I'm trying to say?
So I would say player specific. I would say Mac Jones. If
Mac
I'm talking,
Jones, eh?
yes. So there was a guy there was a kid who pulled a Mac Jones Panini Prism Black Infinite 1 of 1.
Which was worth.
Guy paid $115,000 for it.
That's wild. And the guy's a backup in Jacksonville now.
Mac Jones is the backup in Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's wild, man. That goes to show that sometimes you make these investments, you're paying a card that much.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You know,
how much, if you just had to say a number off the top of your head, how much do you think that card goes for now?
Oh, I mean, pennies on the dollar. I don't even know if honestly, I don't even know if you can get 5,000 for it. I couldn't imagine because he's a backup now. He's a backup.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Yeah.
He could be out of the league in 2 years.
At that point, the guy that paid it 115, just keep it until something happens. Hopefully, he becomes a starter.
That's one of those ones you go, holy, you know, you better
have
a really good
with the card in his hands like this.
You better have a really good story for the wife on that one.
No, don't worry about it. 15 years, he's gonna have 6 Super Bowls. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he's the next Tom Brady. This card,
babe, don't even worry about it. We're fine.
Yeah. Oops, sorry. So, but hey, I know you gotta go. Just so again, hey man, you know, thank you so much.
This was a pleasure, and I appreciate the comments. The comments kept us entertained. I've done podcasts before, but like this is fun because you get the guys like interacting, ladies and gentlemen, interacting in the chat. Just you know, like
if you're you know, if you're interested on coming back on or like that,
of course,
keep in contact on IG and everything.
I enjoyed this.
And
2 hours flew by like crazy, man. I'm sorry once again for the coming in and out there. It just had a bit of problems with my setup here, but we got to it. So I'm sorry about that again.
Like I tell everybody, look, I appreciate you giving up your time to come and hang out and talk with me. I know time is not something that is infinite, and I appreciate you going ahead and taking the time out of your day to hang out.
Just 2 people doing what they like.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Good night. Thank you so much once again.
You got it. I'll keep in contact.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
All right. Yep. Bye. Well, everybody, hey, thanks a lot. That was good. That was good. I mean, we talked about hobby, but talking about sports and everything too. It's really cool stuff. Again, Dom, AJ, Larkin, Maddie. I missed Titus before. Titus, sorry that I missed you. I appreciate you guys. Episode 92 is done. And again, thank you very much, Dom. Great guest tonight. Thank you, AJ. And thank you, Dom. As always, I appreciate the hell out of each and every one of you guys. Just saying thank you for being here. I know it's not enough. I wish I could say more, but I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, everybody. And we will catch you at the next one. Come back. Episode number 93 next week. Woo woo!